Today we're another review. This is Goose Island Bourbon County. This is actually a special review for me. I'm actually celebrating because Goose Island Bourbon County is the beer that got me into craft, and now I've had written 1,000 reviews on BeerAdvocate. You can check out my profile. And just excited. It's been a fun adventure. So I thought I'd review this beer and then talk about the story of how I got into craft, why this beer specifically got me into craft, and some other stuff. So if you want to just watch that, you can skip past the review. So let's look at this beer. So this is, the famous Bourbon County, one of the most famous beers in craft. The first barrel-aged stout, from what I remember. It's 14. This one's 14.2%. They make a really big stout. They throw in a bourbon barrel, used bourbon barrel, and they obviously make this awesome beer. So the beer comes out in just a black oil kind of color, a nice kind of brown head, but it's one of these beers that it's very, very rarely do you have beers that do this, but it almost leaves like a stain on the glass when you like swirl it around. Just like looks like it's like motor oil or something. It just leaves like this like slow brown that sort of just sticks to the glass. Really, reminds me a bit of wine or something. But yeah, really awesome. Let's get the aroma. Wow. In the front, I get this kind of bourbon. Obviously, there's a good amount of alcohol. There's a big amount of sweetness. There's this kind of touch of like molasses or this kind of big punch of vanilla and coconut. Yeah, there's this underlying sweetness that combines very well with the oak. So it's like oak soaked in bourbon barrels or something like that. Oak chips, that kind of aroma. But it exudes this kind of complexity that you get from bourbon barrels, which includes, as I said, vanilla, molasses, coconut, lots of like maybe char flavors, like charred oak flavors. But in general, it obviously has a lot of rich caramel, lots of fudgy chocolate, roasted coffee. Just an absolute killer aroma. I mean, this beer just defines what a bourbon barrel aged beer should smell like. So yeah, let's get the aroma on this. Cheers. Wow. This beer is just absolutely absurd. I could spend a really long time explaining the complexities of this beer. I'm sure you guys would not want to hear it. It'd be that long. Man, it's just fantastic. I mean, it just transitions so well. There's so much going on in the palate. First thing you notice is that the beer is obviously very luscious, super thick on the palate, but it sort of goes away, probably 2/3 on the palate, maybe 3/4, because it dries out quite nicely. But it's one of those beers that is one of the most full, luscious mouthfeel beers that you'll have. In general, in the front you get a nice smack of bourbon. The alcohol's like decently present. On the back you'll actually get more of that kind of medium amount of alcohol. In general, the front hits of chocolate, dark chocolate, even like a dark chocolate syrup. I don't know if they make that, but yeah, dark chocolate syrup, that kind of syrup that you make for used to make milk chocolate. There's a hint of dark fruit. There's a bit of roasted coffee in the middle. On the back end, you're getting lots of toasted coconut, which is a characteristic that Parabola has. You're getting a huge amount of vanilla. This kind of just sweetness that just like lingers throughout the palate. Yeah, wow. Man, that's lots of dark caramel sweetness. It's a very sweet beer in general. So if you're not into sweet beers, you might not like this. But there's a good amount of roast character and roast coffee that cuts that sweetness off. On the back, you're lingered with lots of oak tannins. It's just very oaky. And it just sits on the palate, so it sort of cuts off all that alcohol and that sweetness. Again, the coconut and the oak tannins, actually, this beer is very similar to Parabola. So actually, I just love this beer. But speaking about Parabola, I actually plan on doing a blind taste testing with this Parabola, Black Note, Barrel Aged Plead the Fifth, a bunch of other famous barrel aged stouts. I might film it or might not film it, but if whatever I do, I'll still get back to you guys with the results if I don't film it. But yeah, I absolutely love this beer. I mean, having had 1,000 beers, this is definitely one of the best. Still, being the first beer, and till now, I started around last 2013. Early 2013, and 1,000 beers in between. This is definitely one of the best beers I've ever had. It stands up to some of the best bourbon barrel aged imperial stouts. If it's not the best, if I do a blind test and this is not the best, it still will be about probably top 3 or something. It's just because I'm familiar with a lot of other beers, but this beer I'm very familiar with, and this beer just does not disappoint. It's just absolutely killer. Goose Island has huge production of this. It's widely accessible. If you can't get it, it's pretty easy to trade for. I just absolutely can't believe how good this beer is. And so obviously this beer gets 100 out of 100 for me. So yeah, speaking about other stuff, pass a review if you guys want to learn about more about me. You know, I have a background of like sort of just being a foodie, love cooking, love going to restaurants, love food, obviously. And I also like Yelp, if you know that website. And that website I've been running for about 7-8 years now. I'm a Yelp lead. I write a lot of reviews for restaurants and bars and all that stuff. And you know, it's just sort of natural to get into something else other than food, you know, wine or beer. And you know, starting off, I actually did not like beer very much. Mostly drank, you know, bourbon or something, or the beers I would drink would be cheap beers, pilsners, nothing too exciting. My friends actually like beers like Brooklyn Black Chocolate, Ithaca Flower Power, Firestone Wookie Jack. And you know, I taste those beers and absolutely hated them. Did not, you know, understand how anybody could like those big bitter and whatever flavors that I didn't like. And then you know, slowly I got into liking those beers slightly more. And then randomly I was at a local craft beer bar, and just to look up, you know, the beers they had, I just wanted to look up the reviews to see, you know, I still agree with this sentiment that I looked up the beers just to see what the rating was, and not that I would love the beer because it had a higher rating, but it's a higher chance that I might like the beer because of a higher rating. So I was looking through the reviews, and one of these beers was Bourbon County, 100 out of 100. Never had seen a beer on tap that had 100 out of 100. Never even tried a beer that was 100 out of 100. It was like 15% ABV. I had never had a beer even close to that. The closest I had was Brooklyn Black Chocolate, around 9-10%. And obviously we ordered that, and I just fell in love. Just that first aroma. I mean, it was just so complex, and I never smelled a beer like that before. As a bourbon fan, I was just blown away by the complexity, and you know, I just absolutely loved it. And you know, I drank it, and I just, you know, it just sold me. And I was like, holy smokes, I need to find this beer specifically and get into craft beer. And aggressively chased after a lot of beers. You know, tried everything I could, did a lot of mixer sixers, you know, a lot of bottle shares, and you know, this and that and that, and finally we're at 1,000 reviews. So yeah, it's been quite a fun experience, and I can get all like, you know, nostalgic about how fun this experience has been, how awesome the craft beer community. You guys that watch the videos are great. Other reviewers out there are just absolutely killer. The community is incredible. It's just extremely generous community. The craft beer community, extremely kind. I've made friends from the craft beer community. I mean, I just go on and on about how cool craft is. It's been really exciting and really awesome getting into this, and you know, it feels really great to, you know, finally have 1,000 beers. But I'm just enjoying this awesome beer. And so yeah, let me know if you guys have any cool stories about how you got into craft or what you love about craft. I'm just really happy right now enjoying this and thinking about how fun it's been. So until next time, guys, cheers. Later.